Good morning, everybody. It is the Sunday, the 30th of October. It is 8 a.m. New Zealand, ish 8 a.m. New Zealand time right here. And this is the NZ Travel Show.
And this is Robin, and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide because it literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand. And it's all 100% free, so why not go check it out? But if you're not really into reading, maybe that's why you don't want to check it out, you can come onto the NZ Travel Show, which is what this show is right now. You can come onto the live chat and ask your New Zealand travel questions directly to the experts, so you can just get your answer quickly and we can just talk about it in detail. We kind of like to go into detail about anything to do with New Zealand, so ask away. We go through all the comments.
All right, and this morning we start with Chris Bewley. What is Chris saying, Laura?
Chris says, good morning, Robin and Laura. This time next week, I'll be in Auckland on my way to the Hobbiton Day Tour. Can't wait.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. That means you're missing the live show. I mean, Hobbiton Day Tour, the live show. Ooh, I don't know.
Take us around with you, we'd like to go see the Hobbiton Day Tour again. For, I don't know how many times we've gone on that.
Many times.
It's always fun. Anthony Comstock, one of our regulars, one of our Patreons, is actually in New Zealand right now. Saying, from where I am in Martinborough, I don't know if I'll be able to be here for the whole thing.
You were supposed to say that word.
And Morena, he writes later, I meant to say Morena, which means...
Good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language here in New Zealand.
And he says, from where I am in Martinborough, I don't know if I'll be able to be here for the whole thing because I'll be driving and I need my maps. Well, keep your eyes on the road. Don't bother with us. We'll just catch up later.
Yeah. I'll get you buddy to listen to us. He'll give you a rundown. All right, Adi Muras is kia ora, Robin, Laura, and all the viewers, kia ora, everybody. I hope that you are all doing awesomely. Then we also have Violet Zulu, which is from South Africa, and she says, good morning.
Good morning.
And we have JT, one of our awesome Patreons, says, we're in New Zealand now. That is exciting. That was so quick, mate.
Cool.
Literally just join us on Patreon like a week or two ago, and literally just already in New Zealand. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you for all your help, Hobbiton and Hell's Gate today.
Very nice.
Yeah, what is Hell's Gate, Laura?
Hell's Gate is one of the many hot pool complexes in the Rotorua area. It's a little bit of a drive outside of Rotorua, but one of its sort of differences is that it has mud pools there.
Mud!
So you can lather yourself up in mud and then
JT, what you need to do is to post some pictures of you covered in mud in the Facebook group. Actually, you need to join the Facebook group. But join the Facebook group and post some photos of that so people see about it. I love that picture. They're always so funny.
Yeah, and then Hobbiton as well. So Hobbiton's always a good go-to for most people when they first arrive in New Zealand. It's not too far from Auckland.
Yeah.
A bit of a drive, but usually like a good first sort of stop on your way down to Rotorua.
It's a good introduction to the whimsy and quirks of what New Zealand actually is. So yeah. All right, guys. So today we have a Halloween special question of the day.
Ooh, question of the day.
Ooh.
Question of the day.
Ooh.
Question. Did you expect that, Robin?
This is why we don't have viewers, by the way. We are way too quirky.
Yeah.
All right. So the question of the day today is: what is the scariest things you're going to be doing in New Zealand? So will it be a bungee jump, a skydive? Will it be caving / spelunking, crawling your way through the New Zealand caves to go either see glowworms or just jump from waterfalls to waterfall? Or would it be the dreaded, internationally recognized worst thing in the world, trying Marmite?
Ooh.
That's right. I'm calling it. Marmite is the absolute worst on that list. Honestly, I'd do any of those rather than try Marmite.
Really? Even bungee jumping?
Oh,
there is video evidence here on YouTube of Robin having a pretty scary experience doing bungee jumping.
Yeah, but Marmite is the worst. Marmite.
Yeah.
I will always vote for Marmite as the worst at everything all the time. I think that's just what I would do. It's Marmite.
Yeah.
All right, so again, we're here to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. So feel free to go ahead and ask some questions. And we have Nathan all the way from Topo.
Nathan says, Morena, everyone. I was so scared when I did the bungee here in Topo. Yeah, that's a pretty scary bungee jump right over the Waikato River. Yeah. It is a water touch bungee jump, so you do have the option to actually touch the river as you are about to about to impact with it, but you don't because they'll keep you safe, or those bungee cords.
Due to the lack of video evidence, I can't show it to you guys, but I did do that bungee jump.
Yeah,
I know,
that one you didn't get on video.
Yeah. That was very early on. That was before I had critical thinking, and I learned that jumping from very, very high could hurt you, and my brain was like, nope.
Yeah, it's kind
happening.
of weird the things that happen in your brain when
Yeah.
you're like, it just feels so unnatural to throw yourself off the edge of a very high place.
Well,
like
it is unnatural.
it is
It's not
very
like it's
unnatural,
just...
yeah. But you see some people that are just like, I'm gonna do it. Well, there's the ledge in Queenstown where they put the strap around your waist rather than around your feet, so you can actually do like a running jump and just leap off the edge. And I just think, like, God, how do they do it? Like, some people just do it once and they want to keep on going again and again and again. But, for sissies like Robin and I, we just like, okay, we did it. We don't want to do it again, So it's different for everyone. I think you gotta have a certain maybe personality type to want to keep on going again and again.
Yeah, but apparently so far most people find caving the scariest. So there you go, which is kind of interesting. I never even thought of it as like something really scary. It's, to me, like
it's
obviously have
quite
different...
an eerie environment. So yeah, when we've been doing actually photo shoots in the Waitomo caves late at night. When you're for us, we did like a photo shoot after the tourists had sort of left, and we stayed behind, and then it just went super quiet in the caves. There was dripping sounds. There was like, your imagination runs a little bit wild. They've told you stories as you go. When you are on the tour, they tell you stories about Maori legends and stuff in the caves and how they used to use the caves back in the day. And, it becomes quite a scary, like spooky place. That would be quite a cool place to do like Halloween cave tours in there. Like, it's spooky. Trust me, guys.
Do glowworm henna treats?
The treat for the eyes.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, what a comeback. All right, so we also have a little bit of a segment in this live show every single week where we actually follow the adventure of a French backpacker that is taking a whole gap year in New Zealand, making his way around New Zealand, also trying to find jobs and, sorting himself out in there. His name is Armand, and basically he's celebrating 1 month in New Zealand now with week number 4. So let's see what he has been up to, and we'll reconvene just right after that. It's going to be only about 3 minutes, so just enjoy, and we'll see you right afterwards.
Kia ora everyone. So what have I been up to for the past week? As many of you know already, my original flight from Auckland to Wellington was cancelled, unfortunately. I'm not one to let minor unforeseen events like these come in the way of the enjoyment of my journey. So I had to improvise, get an Airbnb for the night, and booked the flight on the day after. So I only got to Wellington on Monday. Once I got here to Wellington, the first thing I noticed is how windy it is. Yeah, guys, this is not a legend. Wellington is really windy, but I still had a blast here for the past few days. One thing that's worth mentioning is that I landed my first job interview in sales and marketing, and apparently it went well because I got a text message from the employer saying that they wanted to proceed to the next stage of recruitment, but I ended up renouncing because I felt like I could find something more suited to my profile. I did go to Mount Victoria. Actually, I'm staying in Mount Victoria, and I went to the Mount Victoria Lookout. It's probably around 20 to 30 minutes hike from where I'm staying, and I got to see a gorgeous view of Wellington. On the same day, I went to Te Papa Museum, and I really liked, as a geologist, the fact that they really showcase the geological and evolutionary marvels of Aotearoa. I did not have enough time to look at all the other exhibitions there, so I will go back, I think, next week. I also went to the Wellington Zoo, which is probably, I'd say, on par with Auckland's. The animals are not necessarily the same, but I also took time to take some wildlife shots and practice my photography there. Then I took the cable car and went to the Botanic Garden towards the west of Wellington. And finally, I did the Twilight tour of Parliament, which I really liked. The tour guide actually at some point asked, pointing towards the bust of a woman, if anyone knew who she was, and I was the only one to have the answer. That was interesting. It was Lady Kate Shepherd, who pioneered the women's suffrage movement in New Zealand. Anyways, guys, that's all for this week. Until the next, keep smiling!
All right, so what do you think about Armand's time in Wellington? You think literally in about he spent about 4 days in Wellington right now. He already done the Te Papa Museum, the Parliament building tours, the zoo as well, and the Botanic Garden. That's pretty busy few days.
Yeah, that's a good amount of stuff to do in Wellington. I think if it was me, I would have definitely have inserted a trip to Zealandia in there. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's so it is like it's a sort of wildlife sanctuary, so it's like it just has a predator-proof fence around the sanctuary, and most of New Zealand's wildlife are birds, so they can come and go as they please, but usually there's it's a pretty safe haven right in the middle of the city for New Zealand wildlife, and it's a really good place. They also have a museum there as well, so it gives you a lot of context. Like when you're coming to New Zealand as like a first-time visitor, it's really interesting to learn about the really unique sort of ecosystem of New Zealand, of how its wildlife sort of evolved away from the rest of the world. So they, developed things like flightless birds, like the kiwi bird, because there was no predators back in the day that were going to, be a threat to them. So it's really interesting to see like how New Zealand's native wildlife have evolved. So if I'd have to give like an extra tip for people of somewhere else to visit in Wellington, I'd definitely say stick a trip to Zealandia in there. There's also free shuttles from the city centre, from the eyesight, so it's quite easy to get to.
Yeah. All right, so Anthony Comstock says that he tried Marmite and hated it. It is really bad. Actually, a fun tidbit, Anthony also told us that he bought some Weet-Bix, and he knows that I don't like Weet-Bix either. So now he's scared to try the Weet-Bix because he tried the Marmite and he hates it so much. Weet-Bix is less bad than Marmite. It's just so bland. It's just a piece of cardboard, right? So don't be too scared.
You are meant to add milk to it, guys. Like, don't just eat it dry.
It's building material. All right, we have Nathan that says, I see so many people doing the bungee jump and swing, which it made me think I can do that. But then when I was standing on the edge of the platform, I was very scared. Yeah. You just kind of, you try to pump yourself, then you're up by this ledge and you're like, oh, it's not happening.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes it could just be a fun activity to watch people do bungee jumps. They have good viewing areas at the Taupo Bungee and at the Kawarau Bungee in Queenstown. They have a really good sort of open platform where people can just go and check out people doing bungee jumps, and everybody reacts really differently. There'll be, if you actually see the video of us doing bungee jumping in Queenstown,
I chicken out and Laura swears like a sailor. Oh my lord!
And they scream so like really, really loud, like I'm being murdered. Like that is what the scream sounds like.
I've not heard her scream and swear that badly in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody reacts differently, and it's kind of funny to watch.
Yeah. Penguin Stan is back. I mean,
Penguin Stan.
Let's just stop a second. Penguin Stan, you've got the best username of the week. I mean, come on, that is awesome. I do like Penguin Stan.
So what is Penguin Stan getting for the username?
Oh well, the prize value of this is priceless, my friend. This award is absolutely priceless for you, Penguin Stan. Enjoy this. Just recognition on the internet. You now will live forever in the servers of YouTube, recognized as one of the best username of the week. Boom, Penguin Stan. Anyway, what is Penguin Stan saying?
Penguin Stan says, at one time I finally caught up to the stream. Can't wait till it's all over to finally travel to New Zealand.
Woo!
For now, away I go with my phone charge and electricity gone. Oh, okay.
Well, plug yourself in, but thank you for popping in.
Maybe he missed his award, like at that point.
I hope you got your award.
Yeah, I hope you heard, Penguin Stan. If your electricity is still going, just give us one last message saying that you recognise the award.
So Chris Beauty says, I certainly hope Vegemite is on the breakfast menu at the hotels I'm staying at. What's the chance for Vegemite to be on the menu?
I think if there's going to be one on the menu, I'm thinking more it's going to be on a breakfast buffet rather than a la carte menu. It won't be something really to order.
But come on the side of your toast in like
it might
small
come
packets
up, yeah.
as well,
but
like.
I think you're more likely to get Marmite than Vegemite in New Zealand.
So just for context, Vegemite is a bit more Australian, while we do have Marmite here in New Zealand. So that's what's more likely to happen. You probably will get yourself some Marmite.
Yeah, but
I advise you to just leave it on the side and just.
But Chris, you can always buy yourself a pot of Vegemite in any New Zealand supermarket, and you can carry it around with you, so you always have your special pot of Vegemite at the ready for emergencies.
Here you go. Okay, Adil says, Robin, how do you say Armand's surname? Well, I don't, because it sounds unpronounceable. So I try to avoid the subject and I call him Armand. Armand and I, we are on first name basis. So that's how I do say it.
This is how we do on the internet. We're all on a first name basis. We don't need to know surnames. Christina.
Yeah, Christina says, Morinal, I am all somewhat packed now. Sorry, I'm somewhat packed. And Barry's planning to pack on Tuesday. He loves leaving things in the last minute. They are leaving literally this week. Those guys are crazy.
So you do separate packing? You don't do packing together?
Yeah, I don't want my socks to touch your socks. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand, Christina. I wouldn't want Barry's socks to touch my socks. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Penguin Stat says, I got the award. You actually came up with the idea for those ones I popped out some time back. I'm still flattered.
We'll keep on giving it to you, Penguin
I do like it. I do like the name. I do love it. And it says, now definitely away I go. No, don't leave. You may get another award. I'm joking. Anyway, you have a lovely day, Penguin Stan. Make sure to come back again. Chris Beauty says, exactly my plan, Nora, if Marmite is on the menu.
Okay.
Cool. Robert Laliberte. Robert, you gave us feedback last time when we talked about the new studio, and you thought we should have the screen a bit more up so we can look more at the camera. So we elevated the screen about that much, thanks to you. So yeah, here you go. Hopefully you find that better. It's about the same distance from the camera that it used to be. However, we're a little closer, so we still look down. Anyway, in short, your feedback was heard and acted upon. What is Robert saying?
Robert says, watched your how to protect yourself from sandflies and the sun in New Zealand, as well as other videos on the same topic. What I got from yours and theirs is the importance of sunscreen. Absolutely. Also got that the price of sunscreen is much higher in New Zealand than in Australia. In some cases, double the cost. Would it be fair to say that buying some before you travel to New Zealand should be considered? Absolutely.
Yes.
If we
buy our sunscreen from the US.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got sunscreen, a certain brand that you prefer, or it's just easier to have those things already available at hand rather than having to make a detour from your itinerary to go to the pharmacy or whatever, which won't be much of a detour. Going to the supermarket, you'll probably end up having to make a trip to the supermarket anyway while you're in New Zealand. But those sort of things, it's just easier to have organized before coming. Just so you don't have to think about it once you arrive. It's better to sort of plan those things.
Your sunscreen
exactly.
And everything. And also, like for us, we usually try to get reef-safe sunscreen, natural sunscreen, things that are not going to kill the planet or us as well. And so those kind of natural sunscreen are always at a massive premium here in New Zealand, so they're a little bit more expensive. If you want some really good one, it is quite hard to get them. We actually just received a couple of sunscreen bottles literally a couple of days ago that we had to order. He also says, we already read all that. All right, cool. Nathan says, how is your planning coming along for the travel show road trip? Yeah, doing pretty well.
Nathan's pretty excited for that, Robin.
I mean, we'll start right from the hashtag Love Topo sign over there in Topo, and we'll start driving. We plan that. If we can park there at the moment, they're doing a lot of
roadworks in that area.
Annoying, but So anyway, we'll see how that works. It's always the case of like, will the internet kind of last as we drive? It has been like we've tried that before, and sometimes the quality was
spotty.
Yeah, it was spotty. That's the word we're going to go for. Just the nice way to say it. It's going to be a bit spotty. So here you go. What is Christina saying?
Christina says, I've packed my stuff on one side of the suitcase and he will pack on the other side. Some of it will be mixed together. We have been married for 27 years, so I'm not worried about it.
Ooh, you socks may touch. Oh,
Oh
that's
my
not
God,
good.
when the suitcase closes and both of your things touch.
I don't know if you saw the video that I posted on the Patreon group about packing. So I was showing like all our packing stuff, and we obviously like mix things everywhere as well. Yeah, so it becomes a bit of a mess sometimes. Those suitcases, don't they?
Yeah,
even
but
with the
not
packing
when
cubes.
you've got packing cubes.
Even with the packing cubes, sometimes it's a little bit of a mess. You're like, oh, what's in there already?
You're
Oh.
throwing packing cubes around the room where you're trying to find which packing cube am I looking for? Cubes everywhere.
Oh, I love
It's a
packing
cube
cubes.
storm.
Yeah, do you guys use packing cubes? Like, is it something that's can we get that in the comment? Like, do you guys, when traveling and when packing, do you actually use packing cubes? I mean, we swear by it. We use them a lot.
Yeah.
But is that something that is quite common? Like, is it something that you guys consider? I should have that as a question of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should. I'll write
How
it
many
down.
how many
Question
packing cubes
for
do you
next
have?
week? Yeah.
Do you have 10, 5, or 0? 0, I'm not a neat freak. I don't need packing cubes. Back in the day, we used to use plastic bags before the world sort of realised that plastic bags is kind of, first of all, very noisy if you're staying in hostels.
Oh, wow, I hate it. Staying in a hostel and you have somebody that has a backpack full of plastic bag and start rustling their way like at 5 in the morning. You're like, no, tonight.
Yeah. But second of all, if you do buy anything in New Zealand, you don't receive it in plastic bags. That's been gone for quite a few years now. So yeah. Oh, we've been in New Zealand for too long now. Back in the day when they used to have plastic bags, but now it's no more.
Oof, Laura, you just got old. With
I
just
know,
that one
I
sentence, you just
know.
got old. Ooh. Nathan says he's gone, so bye-bye, Nathan. Enjoy work today. Have fun.
Are you working in the new countdown in Topor, or are you still working in the old one?
Ooh,
There's
look at
a
that.
new one now, people. A new one. It's talk of the town.
The talk of the town and the neighboring towns and everywhere else. All right. Okay, cool. So what else do we have this week? Yes, so this... Oh, sorry, what is Adil saying?
Adil says, Robin, do you find a solution to the audio problem that we had last week when you were using the map?
I started looking into it, but basically being able to use 2 microphones here, that won't work. There is just literally no way to do that. So basically, Laura is going to try to speak louder. That's
I will
the
speak
solution that we
louder,
found.
yeah. So if you have any questions regarding places on the New Zealand map, which we have behind us, then feel free to ask them, and we'll go through some live tests right now, and I can see if I could do my voice loud enough.
Yeah.
Where are we up to? We have Anthony saying, stay safe, but I'm on my way. I'll be there for the Patreon show when I get there, if I get there.
What do you mean
I'm
if
sure
you get
you'll
there?
I'm sure you'll get there,
You
Anthony.
will.
I mean, yeah. Stop
Also,
calling
where is there?
Martinborough.
I thought he was in Martinborough already.
I thought he was driving to Martinborough. We can always scroll
Yeah.
up. The power of the internet.
No,
that you
he's
can
in
scroll.
Martinborough.
I'm in don't know if I'll be able. Oh, okay.
Yeah, here you go. Where are you driving to? What's the hubs? What's going on today?
Don't distract him from his driving.
That's true, that's true.
That is when the if I get there comes in. If he's too distracted.
Robin doesn't distract me too much.
Yeah. We don't want to be held responsible for tourist deaths on the road in
indeed.
New Zealand.
All right. So every time there is like big news in the travel industry here in New Zealand, we like to share it with you. And so last week we were talking a little bit about the New Zealand Travelers Declaration, which has been scrapped. So let's go over that a little bit right now in case you haven't watched last week's show, as it's quite important and will affect pretty much everybody traveling to New Zealand.
Yeah, so what was, a few weeks ago, that you did have to do what was called the NZ Traveller Declaration for arriving in New Zealand. It was a bit of paperwork regarding your flights to New Zealand, some COVID history, but it did change over, what they asked you did change a little bit, but anyway, basically now you don't even need to worry about that because that has been completely scrapped. You no longer need to go online and do the NZ Traveller Declaration for coming to New Zealand. The only thing you need to do is make sure that, you can come to New Zealand on a valid visa or the NZETA if you are coming to New Zealand as a visitor and you know that you don't need to apply for a visitor visa, then you will have to do an NZETA. So that's just sort of normal visa requirements. So that's the only thing you sort of need to prepare in terms of paperwork before coming to New Zealand. And then once you're on the plane on your final journey to New Zealand, you will need to complete the passenger arrival card. So this is just a piece of cardboard that they'll pass out to the stewardess and what's the male version of stewards? The airline staff will pass out the paper New Zealand passenger arrival cards. Just very easy to complete. You will need your passport. You will need the number of the flight you are on, for instance. That's kind of the information you'll need, and then it's just a case of answering yes or no questions to stuff that you have packed in your luggage concerning biosecurity and customs, etc. The best thing to do about that is to make sure you're honest on the form. Don't try and hide like, oh, maybe they won't allow me to bring this in. If that's not what it's all about, really. It's just more that if there is any biosecurity hazards, just so they can check it. But in most occasions, it's okay. Just try to not bring fresh food into New Zealand, for instance.
Yeah, that's usually what the problem is.
That's the main thing. It's like you might have like an apple or a banana that you forgot you packed. Just make sure you remember what you packed and make sure you declare it or get rid of any fresh food before you go through the border for coming into New Zealand.
Indeed. And so we received quite a few questions on Facebook actually this week of people trying to bring some things like, either some medication, trying to bring some food supplements, I don't know, things for like bulking of muscles and all these kind of things through biosecurity, and they were not sure if it was allowed. The rule of thumb right here is like, if you're not sure, just declare it. It's fine. It's absolutely okay to declare something.
Declare.
Yes, it's absolutely okay to come in New Zealand with things that you're unsure about. You just declare them and then you'll know straight away. However, if you try to hide things that you're unsure about, then this is when usually fines are in play. So you just declare. All right, so Robert and Christina are having a bit of a discussion. So Robert says, some months ago, you were apprehensive about driving on the left and mildly stressed about that prospect as well come February. Would like to hear how things worked out. Christina says, well, we leave on Wednesday, so we'll let you know next week. We have been watching a few videos and a couple of friends have said that it's not that bad really. Yeah, we've done some videos like on the Facebook group for Patreon. We've done a couple of videos of us driving around with just the camera facing up and just kind of commenting. We've done roundabouts and everything to kind of reassure everybody, because that has been a big subject of conversation on our Patreon group. I'm pretty sure last month we had Sheetal as well that was asking about driving. She was just curious. She's not going to be driving. She is going to be driving. Is she going to be driving?
Ooh, she
she's
was
going to take
tying
the
it
bus.
up.
She was tying it up, yeah. So Armand, that we saw on the video right here, is actually getting his driver license here in New Zealand. He's French, but he's going to get his driver license here in New Zealand. So it was just a big subject. So we decided to literally just drive around and do some videos and kind of show like how driving around in there. That was quite cool. So yeah, you shouldn't stress too much about it. It's all fine. Okay, Subam says something.
Hey, can I come for honeymoon in May, at the end of May?
Can you?
Absolutely. The New Zealand borders are open, so depending on what country you're from, you'll just have to complete the correct visa process. You can find out information on that on immigration.govt.nz. So that is a good hub for knowing what sort of visa you'll need to visit New Zealand. You might not need a visa, you might just have to do the NZDTA, or you might have to do a full application for a visitor visa. But it's a very easy sort of visa process, nothing too hard if you're just visiting. So if you're just visiting, which is kind of what a honeymoon's all about, then yeah, good to go. The New Zealand borders are fully reopened, so good time to start planning. And we do have information. Yeah,
so I'm going to
Robbie
tell you about
there.
information. So yeah, here you go. So one thing that we have, which is quite handy for people planning a honeymoon itinerary here in New Zealand for you, Subam, is on the NZ Pocket Guide website. You have a section called Trip IDs right here. And rather than going for like your length of trip right here, you can go for travel style right here. And if you go to wedding and honeymoon, we actually have pre-made some itineraries that are like perfect for honeymoon, including a lot of fun and romantic activities and also like all the best honeymoon accommodation and all that. And so then you just literally have to pick what you prefer doing, just Northern and all of New Zealand in 2 weeks. You have like 4 weeks. If you can take a whole month of a honeymoon, it's pretty cool. Look at those dashing couple right here. So you can do 3 weeks, just 1 week if you want to, just a Northern and however, we don't recommend both. And so yeah, so we have some pre-made itinerary. I'll show you one of them, for example. So yeah, let's take the 4 weeks. Let's go. Let's say you go nuts and you really want to do as much as you can right here. All right. So we actually have like the whole like day to day, just kind kind of has an idea and some information on how to get around. And then we literally go day by day with literally your travel time, where to go, what kind of activities, what kind of accommodation you can go, and literally every single day is kind of pre-made for you on the site. So it's kind of handy and it's really easy to access. So again, you click on trip ID right here on top. Trip ID, let me show it on screen, and then travel style, and then wedding and honeymoon, easy as. So yeah, all right, what is Subham saying after that?
I wanted to plan a whole trip with you guys. Which Patreon package will be best for me? Or do you also plan whole itineraries?
Yeah, so we definitely can help you out. So what we usually do on Patreon is that we kind of work through spreadsheets. So you kind of write all the things that you want to do, and then we put them in order. So for example, we've been helping a lot, pretty much all the Patreons there. I can show it to you on screen because we keep like Patreon things just on Patreons right now. But yeah, so if you go on our Patreon page and you want to do a bit of an introduction and just chat with us for about like 45 minutes, just you and us, and we kind of get the idea of like what you want to do and everything, you can go for the package number 4. And so yeah, and so after your first payment, we'll just hang out with you and do all that. Or otherwise, you can take like any of the package like 2 and 3, and yeah, we'll be able to help you like through spreadsheets and just communication through the Facebook group and spreadsheets in that way. So yeah, pick any of them, and yeah, if you get one literally like right now, you'll have another even live show right now after this one. So in about like 30 minutes we do another live show with just Patreon, and we just plan trip together. So here you go. But yeah, it's kind of up to you, like just, you know, pick something that also fits your budget. You know, we're not, you know, jumping on Patreon with us, it's kind of like, yeah, you get a bunch of rewards and everything, but you also kind of support what we do and all that. So yeah, but yeah, start with one of those trip IDs. For example, if you like literally have a blank page right now, start with one of those trip IDs, and then we can kind of customize it together. We just sit down together and customize it. If you want to go for like package 4, otherwise you go for one of the other one, and you just have access to like spreadsheets and stuff, and we all share. And as well on the spreadsheet, we also put like basically where we travel as well, and as well all the Patreon, so you may be able to meet other people which are traveling in New Zealand as well, which is quite a lot of fun. All right, what is Lawrence saying?
Lawrence says, Kia ora, Laura, Robin, and everyone. How are you all doing? We're doing pretty good today. It is getting warmer in New Zealand. We haven't talked about the weather today so far, so let's talk about the weather. It is getting warmer in New Zealand, milder, which is very nice. You know, we don't have any heaters on in the house at the moment, so that's always fun. But it is super rainy. It's kind of like warm, humid raininess. It's kind of feeling like we're almost getting a little bit tropical. Just a little bit tropical in here, but yeah, it's good. I enjoy, like, if it's raining, and at least if it's warm, it's good. The plants love it, so we're always happy about that, and that makes us happy too.
Yeah, and then the New Zealand weather changes all the time, but it was raining a lot last night, so yeah, I don't know what's going to be for today, but whoo, rain, and you know, you look at the forecast and it says rain all the time, but like 2 days ago, it was supposed to be like absolute thunderstorm where we are in New Zealand. It was the most perfect of all day, and literally I was picking up my phone, looking at my phone for the weather, and literally it says it say that it was like currently a thunderstorm. So yeah,
it is very hard to plan around the weather. You usually just have to just look outside and see if you can see any dark clouds coming your way, and then just get on with things, really.
Yeah, you have to be weatherproof to travel in New Zealand. It's fine. The rain shouldn't stop you. You'll be fine. And it's not like as heavy downpour like the monsoon, right? It's like not that bad, but yeah, it drizzles quite often.
Christina's talking about driving with Robert Laliberte, saying my hubby has driven a forklift while sitting in the middle, so I guess he will have an easier time transitioning.
No, that is nonsense. You driving wheels at the back in a forklift. No, that has nothing to do with driving. No, do not let him drive like in a forklift.
Subham says, perfect, thanks, and perfect, yes. Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, it would be cool to have you join us on Patreon. Lawrence, one of our Patreons, says
29 minutes until the Patreon live session.
Yeah.
Ta-da-da!
Lawrence says, I checked Auckland weather forecast, and yes, it does look like rain every day. And Mark, we missed Mark, I think. Mark LA was saying, good morning, rainy Sunday. Sunday.
It is a rainy Sunday. Where are you, Mark, already? I'm trying to remember. I know that's not the first time you're popping in, but I'm trying to remember like where people are in New Zealand. So yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's raining everywhere in New Zealand right now. It's just like grey. Yeah, so yeah, the weather is pretty terrible indeed. Okay, Robert says, I still want to hear about it from you. Yeah, Christina, just she's gonna give us a bit of an update for sure. Yeah, and What does she say? No problem. She'll let us know. Nice one. What is Lauren saying?
Lawrence says, I need to check the packing video. I wanted to hear your tricks and tips. I'll check it out. I was going to do a test packing over the weekend.
Oh, nice. We can go over some more test packing. I'll take the suitcase here if you want during the Patreon live show a little bit later. We can talk a little bit more about packing. I was just testing also the videos and like some new features of the new phone that we're going to be using as we're going to be vlogging with you guys daily. For Patreon, where we're going to be on the go. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. What is Robert saying?
Robert says, are we doing
No, we already done that. So
no, we haven't done this though.
What? Oh, Adil. Oh, sorry. What is Adil saying?
Adil
Apologies
says...
for that, Adil. I almost skipped you. Laura's here. She gets you, mate.
Yeah. Adil says, so if my understanding is correct, as long as I declare items, which I'm not sure about, I will not be fined, even if those items are not allowed in New Zealand.
That is correct. That is correct. If you declare them genuinely and just made a mistake, it's absolutely fine. Obviously, if you bring absolutely crazy bundles of cocaine, you may get in trouble. Despite the fact you're declaring it, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just genuine mistake, I brought 6 months of that, I don't know, medication, and it's kind of you can only take 3 months. It'd be fine. They'd help you out with that, obviously.
And then he continues saying, but obviously those items will be taken away. So if they are not allowed in New Zealand, then they have various options of what they'll do. They'll either go get it destroyed, and they may charge you for that actually, or they may send it back to your home country, which they will charge you for. So and then there's other options where, for instance, if you have something dirty, or you might have a dirty hiking boots or something, you might have I don't know, say, well, Adil, you're in your wheelchair, maybe your wheelchair is full of dirt. Make sure you clean your wheelchair, maybe, before you come. They may ask you to put some spray on it and clean it, but then they won't charge you for that. So it depends what the item is, but usually, just have a look at, we do have videos on here of what to declare when arriving in New Zealand, which goes through what is restricted. A good thing to do is just make sure that you're not bringing anything into New Zealand that is prohibited, basically. Avoid the prohibited items.
And we do also have lists on NZ Pocket Guide, so type prohibited, for example, on the search bar, and you'll find that.
We do have articles over there.
All right. Okay, so Robert says, question for you. Laura talks with an English accent. I understand her. Robin talks with a French accent. I understand him. Same accent that my father had. How come when I watch videos made by Kiwis, I struggle to follow them? Is it just me? I'm sure if I was to ask a Kiwi, they will tell me it's my pronunciation that are foreign. Is it just me, or anyone else find that baffling? Do you find that the Kiwi accent is really strong? I personally, so I worked and traveled in about 16 different countries, so I spoke with people of all different kind of accents, speak English, and I really find Kiwis really easy to understand if I compare to Scottish or Irish. I mean, there's no way when I speak with a hot potato in the mouth, I can understand anything, right? In New Zealand, I don't really have a problem with understanding them, but I think it's because I learned English as I was traveling, and I learned English from so many different accents. I kind of jump them all together and sound funny as a result. But do you have ever an issue to understand Kiwis?
Absolutely not.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I find that New Zealand, it's quite a mild accent in New Zealand. Like you say, there are stronger.
It's not as strong as Marmite, right?
Yeah, there are stronger accents. You might have a really strong Scottish accent or a really strong Irish accent or something that, I feel.
Spit the hot potato.
Yeah,
I feel
like I've met more people in the UK that have had accents that are harder to understand than in New Zealand. There's just the odd word where. For instance, we were in a hardware store the other day, and a lady was asking where the pigs are, and I thought she was saying pigs, oink oink, but she was asking for pegs, clothing pegs. So there's just those odd, really just very small number of words where it's hard to.
Eggs.
And the eggs, but I don't know what what else they would be saying. It's it doesn't sound too similar to anything else.
It's not pigs and pegs,
and there's also sense. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube.
Well, if you don't think you can say it,
Maybe I
don't
shouldn't say
it.
that. There's another word which sounds like they could be saying a rude word, but they maybe just say.
Oh, there's a
something.
whole ad about it. Yeah. So the deck in front of your house, the way they pronounce it is definitely not deck.
Yeah.
And there's like actually TV ad where they mock the pronunciation of the porch, the front deck of your house.
Yeah.
You guys can you can fill in the blanks.
But to be fair, there has been actually sometimes in New Zealand where New Zealanders haven't understood my accent for some of the words that I've been saying.
Oh, that never happened to me. Oh wait, no, that happens all the time.
So what you'll actually more find in New Zealand is that New Zealanders will find it quite hard to understand foreigners sometimes. Yeah. So you might have to just, when you're asking things, you're probably going to have to ask a couple of times quite slowly before they get it. So don't worry, that happens to native English speakers as well. That happens to me. So yeah, you just have to go with it, really.
All right. So speaking of, Subam is having a good laugh. Lawrence is asking a good question regarding what we were talking about, what to declare. And she said, are there things that we wouldn't think is a big deal, but we really shouldn't bring beside the obvious one? So I don't know what you consider obvious, right? So that's a little bit hard to think about. But literally sometimes like your snacks, right? You always kind of travel with a few snacks like banana and apple, or even just like a muesli bar. And so all those things need to be declared, right? So everybody always has snacks, especially like if you travel with kids or anything, you always have snacks in the bag. Make sure you declare and you know which snacks and bars you have. You absolutely have to declare them for sure.
I think the thing that people forget to declare is like sports gear and hiking gear, or camping gear. Like a lot of people obviously come to New Zealand to experience the great outdoors, and they come with a few items to help them with that, whether it be hiking shoes or maybe a tent or something like that. So although almost 100% of the time they don't really need to check those things as long as you haven't packed them completely dirty in your suitcase. But yeah, you do need. It is still a good idea to declare those things anyway, just in case. And it's always going to depend on who is working at the border. There may be stricter people working that shift at biosecurity than other days. So you might hear a story from one person that was like, "Oh yeah, it was fine. I took all these things through." But then there might be that day where that guy who's really strict on his job, or does his job well, is going to pick out more people and be more picky. So it's just always good to make sure you've covered all your bases. And I was just thinking, maybe Robin, you want to go on NZ Pocket Guide and type in declare on that article. Cool, so Robin's going to just bring up an article on what to declare when arriving in New Zealand, and so somewhere down that page we do have a list of we have a whole list of things that you should declare and what that includes. So Robin's bringing it up right now, and we've split it into different sections, so it's like easy to sort of follow. So just have a quick scroll. You can have a quick scroll through that. Robin will also put a link in the live chat for you guys, and I do think there is a section on there of what is prohibited as well. So so there's
so every time I'll swap to my face. So every time we actually go through like type of items, right? So what item you absolutely have to declare, so food, animal product, blah blah. So we do the whole list right here, and then we talk about the food in specific, like which food you have to declare in New Zealand. So we go through all that. Then animal product, what kind of animal product we're talking about that you've got to declare, plant products, and so we go through the whole list, and here's all the outdoor gears, hunting gears, backpacking, hiking gears, biosecurity, like seashells, if you went to an island or something on your way, when it comes down to duty-free allowance, customs, medications, all these kind of things. So we have the whole list right here, and I gave the link to everybody in the live chat, so here you go. No, that's just Laura. We're going to do that and that. Here you go. We should be back. No, are we back? Yes, we are. Boom. Easy. I did not even struggle right here. Fabio says, Robin's face, have you read my sentence? Yes, I have. One of the things that Fabio is saying, honey, you can't bring honey to New Zealand. He says, the vomit of bees cannot be taken in New Zealand. Oh, yeah, when you read that, it just... made me giggle. All right. All right. So Fabio is here. Speaking of the man, Fabio says,
"Hey guys,
Kiwi and their dialect it is cool." Yeah, I don't really know if it's a full dialect, but it's just everybody has different accents, right?
Yeah.
What is Lauren saying?
Lawrence says, "Oh, I've noticed Kiwis tend to pronounce E more like I.
Or E.
Oh no, or E. No,
Yeah. So
It's hard for me
the letter E, they usually pronounce it like more like the pronunciation E. So that's why I say just switch the E in deck and you realize what they say all the time. And sometimes they are boasting about, the size of their deck and like, they just polished their deck and all that. They worked on it and everything.
Yeah.
And so, it's their deck.
She watched the Viva La Dirt League video where they talk about their Hearthstone decks.
Yeah, in the video game.
In the video game, very funny.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, Viva La Dirt League is the group of comedians which on YouTube do skits about video games, about role-playing, all these kind of things. And they're based in Auckland, in New Zealand. They film in Howick Historical Village. That's where they get their honeywood set up. Good day for fishing, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, what is Mark saying?
Mark says, I'm in Hamilton. Week was beautiful, sunny days. Today, good day as well to watch you guys and read a book.
That means it's terrible weather. It's
To read a book, yes. About the language, the jargons are the most difficult for me right now. So there might be a few Kiwiisms, a few slang words.
Yeah, it's something like good boots or red bands, for example. When they're going to talk about red bands, they're actually talking about gumboots or Wellingtons, I think you call them.
Yeah,
like
in the UK we call them
Wellington boots.
Wellies.
And they call them red bands because there is a brand that's called red band that has a red band like over the top, for example.
Yeah. There's also words like instead of saying kettle for your
jug,
they call it the jug.
The jug.
That's another word that they don't understand me saying is because I say like jug, like really like like they're like what? Don't you mean jug?
Ross is also pitching in and says you can't bring honey. So here you go. Everybody's on the honey train right here. That is true.
They want you to buy their honey, people.
Yes, you've got to buy the Manuka honey from New Zealand.
Manuka honey.
Yeah. I actually just bought some for some gifts for some friends. So here you go. Lawrence did her homework. She actually found the article before I actually gave the link. So here you go.
Job,
the link is in the live chat right now. And then Matty, what is Matty saying?
Matty says, I've lived here in NZ for 30 years and most foreigners seem to be able to understand each other, but New Zealanders seem to have difficulty picking up accents and others can't understand them.
Yeah, so that's something that so obviously between Laura and I, Matty, right, let's be honest, I'm the one with the strongest accent. And I've been in New Zealand for over 12 years now. And I do struggle sometimes being understood, like especially speaking a little too fast. Sometimes I have to take a deep breath and just start speaking a little bit slower. I just think it's due to the fact that, and it's obviously only my interpretation of it. I may be widely wrong, right? But I do think that it's just due to the fact that New Zealand is relatively isolated. In New Zealand, we don't get to travel as much. But for example, if you are in Europe, for instance, right, you're only a short train away to a lot of different countries, and so you are more facing a lot of different accents. New Zealand, although there are some slight varieties in between some accent in some regions of New Zealand, we kind of work with only one accent all the time, right? And so if you just get used to only one accent all the time, you never start working in your ear into understanding the word jug, like those kind of things, different way
iterations.
Exactly. So for me, I learned English in by traveling, and so I worked in traveling in 16 different countries, and so therefore I heard the word kettle, the word deck, the word jug said in so many different ways. For me, they all combine into the same thing, which makes me terrible at accents. Sometimes Laura is like, oh yeah, I can definitely hear his accent. He's from like Scotland or Ireland and everything. I'm like, I don't know, he's just one of those that I have a hard time understanding. I can't tell at all the difference. Like people in the US, they're literally able to talk to each other and tell to each other which state they're from. I have no shot at doing that. But on the other hand, I usually don't struggle understanding what people say unless it's an Irish or a Scottish speaking at a million kilometers an hour. So that's my interpretation of it. I may be widely wrong, but I think that's probably why.
Yeah, and when you're traveling actually around this side of the planet, you have like the Australian accent is very similar to the Kiwi accent. When you go to the South Pacific,
Australian.
Yeah, Australian. When you go up to the South Pacific Islands, when the islanders do speak English, it actually sounds kind of Kiwi. Like everyone sort of has very similar accents just in this sort of whole South Pacific area, it seems. I don't know how the penguins are in Antarctica, but it's all pretty similar down here.
Yeah. Fabio says, I would say it's more of a dialect than an accent. I wouldn't be able to tell you what the difference between a language, a dialect, and an accent is. Do you know what the difference between a language and a dialect is?
Dialect is like the use of sort of, there'll be different slang terms or ways. Like, say, English, there'll be like Scottish is a dialect. Like, they'll use different...
So it's a dialect, it's not an accent?
It's
so you wouldn't say Scottish accent, you're speaking with a
accent
Scottish dialect.
is the more the sounds they make, right? And melody, the cadence.
I like that word.
So but dialect is actually the words used. So the Scottish may phrase a sentence or use different words very differently to what, say, New Zealanders would say. Like, say, let's think of it like as a sentence that
that's gonna be funny. Let me
New Zealanders would say, something about. Let me just think of something like I'm carrying my chili bin in my gumboots to the paddock.
To the ute.
To the paddock.
To the ute.
In English, in England, we would say, I'm carrying my my cooler in my wellies to the field. It's just like you use different words, right? So that's the dialect difference compared to like accents is more what people sound like, really.
Indeed. All right. Well, we got completely derailed with that. Thank you, guys. I mean, much appreciated right here. We're trying to talk about traveling in New Zealand. I love it. Okay. So Chris says, I just say mate and they'll know where I'm from. That is worldwide. You can't say mate, you'll be branded. You'll be branded kangaroo. All right. Fabio says Kiwis use different word pronunciation and so on. Okay, so different words would be dialect, different pronunciation would be accents. I got it. Look at that. You guys are making me smarter by the day. All right. What is Mark saying?
For me, Aussies are harder to understand than Kiwi.
Would you say it's something for you?
I think the Australian accent is it's slightly stronger than the Kiwi accent. Kiwi accent's quite mellow. It's just mellow. It's just nothing too jarring.
I think Australian talks also a little faster than Kiwis, and I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, perhaps.
All right, so Fabio says, most difficult is French guy in New Zealand. I feel attacked. Beside Robin. Oh, that's been nice. When we've been in New Zealand, we got together with some dudes from France, and it was quite difficult to understand what they wanted to say. Obviously, like a lot of people complain on YouTube. I mean, the comments and the complaints that we got on YouTube all the time is that obviously my accent is very hard to understand, and also when we do videos of us traveling, we yell too much. We're way too enthusiastic, which that's the two things that we always hear. So yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. Understanding French accent is relatively tough. What is Maddie having to say? Welcome back, Maddie. That's been a while.
Maddie says, do you guys have any videos sharing how you came to New Zealand and started doing what you guys do?
We talked a little bit about it on Patreon in one of the Patreon sessions, but we really try to make this channel and all NZ Pocket Guide more about New Zealand and helping you travel to New Zealand rather than about ourselves. But yeah, we will be happy to be able to talk about that. But usually we try to share those things a little bit more in private. So yeah, just if you join us on Patreon and everything, we can chat about these kind of things. But we try not to make it anything about us as well. We, despite being online all the time, we try to also have a little bit of privacy sometimes. So yeah, I hope you don't, you're not offended by that. It's just, and also, our paths were different coming to New Zealand and all these kind of things. And it doesn't necessarily apply to everybody and all that. So we don't want it to be kind of like, oh yeah, well those guys did it. I need to do this. It doesn't work for everybody.
A lot of people are on when we, do our public sessions of YouTube. This live show that we do right now. A lot of people want to know sort of visa questions and coming to New Zealand for visa related queries. But if we had videos out saying, our path to New Zealand and how we got here, a lot of people would want to sort of follow that and want to be able to do the same visa things that we did, but it is different for everyone. We don't want to put any misinformation out there and make misguide people like, oh yeah, you can totally do what we did. Like,
Yeah, that can be misguiding.
yeah, exactly.
What is that emoji, Mark? What the hell is that thing? So first, thank you very much.
Thank
What
you.
is that? Is that a lemon playing a trumpet next to a little pear? Is that what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, how are you guys finding those emojis? Honestly, that is funny. Thank you very much, Mark, for helping us keep the lights on right here. I really appreciate it.
And what a beautiful
Yeah.
set of lights
I
they
mean,
are.
this costed us thousands to do this kind of thing. So yeah, thank you very much, Mark. We really appreciate your support. That's really cool. Chris says a common joke about Aussies from Kiwis is that you can't tell Noddies, but you can't tell them much.
That's funny.
Lauren said, anyone else is getting YouTube ads in the middle of the stream? Yes, so YouTube is still starting adding ads into the middle of stream, so it may happen from time to time. We demonetized all the Patreon live sessions, so you never get an ad on the Patreon live session, but it helps us keep the lights up. We show you the guys on Patreon last time how much money we make on YouTube. It's very little. So yeah, it helps us keep the lights on. So thank you very much for enjoying the ads. This is nice. Chris says, I don't get ads thanks to ad blocker. Oh, well, that means we don't
nice.
get paid thanks to ad blockers. Fabio says, New Zealand question. What is your favorite city beside the big ones? Auckland, Christchurch, Wellington, Taupo, Rotorua. So beside those ones, what is your favorite cities?
I would say Dunedin is one of my favorites.
That's pretty cool. A lot of wildlife there.
I love the variety of things to do in Dunedin, and yeah, it's like you're really close to going to see like wildlife in its natural environment.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Seeing like penguins, sea lions, seals, that sort of thing, which is on the Otago Peninsula, but also in the city itself, you have a ton of really cool things to check out, multiple museums, art galleries, and interesting architecture. It's a very characterful town, a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that in terms of other cities, Dunedin's pretty awesome.
I always like to base myself quite centered, when I'm thinking about where, being able to go everywhere and everything. And so there is no better place for me than Nelson, which is the official geographical center of New Zealand. You're on the top of the North Island, the South Island, sorry. So it's an easy jump going to Picton and then going to explore North Island. But you also can explore relatively easily most of the South Island as well. So I think it's kind of a cool place. You're nearby the Abel Tasman National Park, which is a jewel in New Zealand, in my personal opinion, and you're not too far as well from all the Marlborough Sounds. You're not too far from the Nelson Lake if you want some good alpine kind of hiking. There is also some very small but still ski fields nearby there, and there is the town of Blenheim and all the Marlborough region, which has some of the best wines that New Zealand creates. So I think it's a cool place with so much happening there, and yeah, it's very central for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
So here you go, mega pun. Woo!
I also want to add one last one on
What?
there as well.
No.
I have
This is your favorite. You don't have two favorites. You always
I
have a
picked
favorite
my favorite
child.
city, but can I pick my favorite town as well?
I don't know. You have to ask Fabio.
Large town.
You're gonna have to ask Fabio
Okay.
if you can pick another one.
All right, Fabio, can I pick another one, please? Just comment and say yes.
Lauren says to talk to Chris. I have it on my computer, but streaming on my Xbox when no ad blocks, and we have never gotten ads during a live stream. Yeah, they started doing it about a month ago or something like that. So they come regularly. We don't have that many viewers, so therefore YouTube doesn't monetize. It's kind of a circle, right? YouTube doesn't monetize it a lot, so therefore we don't get that much ads, so therefore we don't get that much money, and so it just kind of go that way. But yeah, sometimes there are some. So yeah, there is a pop-up that tells me hey, an ad has been inserted right now, so I kind of know it, and I just close it right here.
Does it block? Does it go over the top of when we're talking? Do people miss
no
what
idea.
we're talking? Or
I have no idea how that works.
yeah, I know we don't really get to see that from our end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So Fabio says little lemon. You think it's a little lemon? It looks like a pear. It's different color. Why is the lemon?
But why-
different?
but
It's a
why-
lime. It's a lime. It's a lemon and a lime.
That makes more sense.
Oh my God! I mean, just Mark, you just blew my mind right here. It's a lemon and a lime. Anyway, Mark gives him the fist bump. What is Fabio saying?
Fabio says, Dunedin is my most favourite city, besides Christchurch and Wellington. Nelson is quite cool. You are on the South Island, but you are not on the earthquake line that is most active. East of it, Blenheim, and so on, is more of a danger than Nelson.
There you
nice
go.
little extra tip.
Yeah, I'm always doing the right choice, right?
Yeah, and then he says,
Wait,
yes,
just before
Laura.
that, let's just recap the question of the day. Question of the day. Yeah.
dare you.
Question of the day. Question of the day. Yeah. Hey guys, let's talk about the question of the day.
I want to say my favorite town already.
All right, so today we're asking you, there's only about 5 minutes left to vote. We're asking you, what is the scariest things you're planning to do in New Zealand? Halloween special. Ooh. Is it going to be do a bungee jumping, skydive, do caving, or trying Marmite? What is going to be the most scary things you'll do when traveling in New Zealand? 5 more minutes to vote, and then we get a result. Come on, vote, vote, vote. All right, so let's talk to Mark. Mark says, Kiwi usually say Hamilton is boring. I love it there, close to all the interesting places. I agree. Hamilton is a fantastic place to base yourself if you want to explore more of the North Island.
For sure.
What is happening in the live chat, Laura? Go for it.
So,
That's just been cheeky.
yeah, I feel like now we've amped up. I just wanted to quickly mention another cool town, but
it has to be the
now
best
it's been
thing.
amped up, and now
yeah.
I feel a little bit embarrassed to say.
What is it, Laura? What is your favorite smaller town of New Zealand? Tell us more about it.
I'm going to say Hokitika, which is on the
that's
west
cool.
coast of the South Island. Admittedly, not the best weather, not nice and dry compared to Nelson. You know, the west coast is pretty wild, pretty wet. There are sometimes road closures in winter because it gets a little bit crazy over there. But it is a really cool small town where they have all sorts of interesting things going on in the town. They have like greenstone carving, glass blowing. It's quite artistic and nice. So if you're into those sort of things, cafes with beehives in the walls, which is pretty cool. Just it's quite quirky. Beautiful sunsets, beautiful beach. So that's kind of the really cool thing about the town itself. But the west coast in general is a really stunning part of New Zealand.
I do like it a lot.
Where you can be like in super lush rainforest. And then there's also, you know, the sort of wild, rugged beaches of that area. You can go down to the glaciers in Franz Josef and Fox Glacier. Just the whole area is it's just sort of like, I don't know, it's quite idyllic to me. I do like sort of like more sort of rainforesty.
I agree.
Sort of areas. It's
I'm
cool.
glad we amped that up. I think that was worth hyping it up.
Oh,
I really like it.
I'm glad you said that, Robin.
Yes. All right. So aside from the cheek, Lauren says it cuts the live stream for about 15 seconds. The ads, short ads, and it was just the first time for me. I was curious. No worries. Let's make sure you get to keep those lives on. But you are, because you are with us on Patreon. So you know, if there was a way to kind of like select some people that don't get the ads, obviously we will add that as a Patreon perks. I don't think there is one way right now, but yeah, on any of the Patreon show, there's never ads in there for sure. Lawrence is also asking Mark, what are you doing or have you done in Hamilton? I think Mark lives in Hamilton, so I think Mark may have a lot of insights. So yeah, I'd love to hear about Hamilton. Have you been to Zealand? Have you been to the gardens? Have you been to nearby Matamata, Raglan? What have you? Bridal Veil, Waitomo? There's a lot nearby.
A lot of places.
So yeah, what's the locals' favorite? Mark, do tell.
Do tell indeed.
Fabio is also pitching in on Hamilton, close to everything and way cheaper than Auckland.
To live and everything else.
Yes, to live and everything else, indeed. Okay, so Varun Turkey says, hello, I'm from Mumbai, guys. How are you doing? Hey, hello, all of India. This is Laro. Is that what the other guy was saying? There's an Indian guy one time that said that in some of the Indian forum, they call us Laro. Okay, he says, hope you're well.
Or Rolar or something.
No, Laro, I think I'm correct.
Oh.
I think it was Laro, yeah.
Okay.
What's the minimum period you can rent a flat? Moving to Wellington for 3 years to do culinary school, and I want to find a perfect place before I commit long term. So the best way to do that for you, Varun, is actually to stay in a hostel, while you kind of look and do flat hunting. The minimum amount of time that you will rent a flat, like there is a bit of a crisis in New Zealand when it comes to like housing and this kind of thing. So it's kind of hard to kind of get somebody that's going to give it to you for 6 months. So I'd say it's going to be probably 9 months to a year. I think that's going to be kind of the amount of time you will have, unless you go flatting with people, i.e. you join a bunch of people which are already flatting and you just get a room to yourself, and so you have roommates and all that. So at that point, then you can find something which is a little bit shorter, and I'd say about 6 months would be what you usually can get, because usually even people that are kind of flatting, they kind of like to get to know their roommates and kind of get some habit. You don't want a revolving door of people as well. So yeah, so that's kind of like what would be usually what you can expect. But the best way to do that is to stay in a hostel, you flat hunt, and once you find a perfect flat, then you move in there rather than trying multiple different ones.
Yeah. Good advice.
All right. So what else do we have in there? Fabio says, guys, we missed Kiwi favorites town and city, Invercargill.
Yeah,
We
that
did not
is
talk about
the
Invercargill.
southernmost city of New Zealand.
Very affordable.
Very affordable.
Very good weather.
You can take really good trips to the Catlins, which is one of my favourite places in New Zealand. If I could live outside of a town or city, I would live in the Catlins with the seals. And also close to you can do a short drive-ish to the Fiordland National Park, that sort of places. So you are really close to some pretty stunning areas.
She's selling you Invercargill hard right here.
I am, guys. In terms of what's in Invercargill, well, it's not the most happening place, but it's affordable.
All right, what is Rafa Cat saying?
Cat says, hello guys, good morning from Leeds. Sorry I'm late today and I've been very, very busy. I will watch the show in full later on. Well, thanks for popping by.
Hey, you're right, just before the hand. That's not bad, What is Fabio saying?
Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Fabio,
Yes, good call.
our producer. And Mark says, yes, I live in Hamilton. I've been walking around, a lot of nature, Hamilton Gardens, and more than 100 parks, about an hour from the beach, Auckland, Lake Taupo, waterfalls, cheaper than Auckland. That's a good summary, I think.
Indeed, I like it. All right, so let's talk about the question of the day right now. What was the question of the day, Laura?
The question was, what's the scariest thing you plan to do in New Zealand, as it is close to Halloween?
All right, let's see what you guys voted for. 36% of you guys said skydive would be the scariest thing. 27% of you guys said bungee jump, number 2. Number 3 is trying Marmite at 22%. And at 13% is caving/spelunking. So that was a big offset right here. Caving/spelunking was number 1 for the whole time.
Yeah, that was
amazing.
That was fun to watch,
amazing.
Guys.
The great Matty Clan says something.
One way you can support Robin and Laura is by subscribing and liking their content.
Look, I should have put the stuff on screen as you were reading that. No, look, I'll put it later. There you go. It's on screen now. Should say something.
Thank you, Matty. Our other producer is here in making sure that the right messages are put through to our audience. Thank you.
Nice there.
And Mark says, and the weather is not too cold, not too hot all year around. It's perfect. So still talking about Hamilton.
Mark is selling you Hamilton right here. So here you go, guys. Move to Hamilton.
Yeah, check Hamilton out, guys.
All right, so thank you very much for joining us for another great morning. I really enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, we'll see you next week at exactly the same time for another NZ Travel Show. In the meantime, we are going to do another 1 hour of that with our Patreon subscribers right now. And we have plenty of awesome videos scheduled throughout the week. So we keep you entertained and inspired to do some epic activities in New Zealand. If you do have some questions in the meantime and you missed the live show, put them in the comments below. I always scroll through them and always take the time to answer to pretty much every single comment. Why do I do that? I don't know. It takes a lot of my life, but
just because you're a good guy, Robin.
I just value your questions and your feedback.
You're a good guy.
Wow.
Hit like if you think Robin is a good guy.
Joking. All right, Mark says, have a great Sunday, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a great Sunday/Saturday, wherever you are.
that is true.
Bye.